Well, Cmas athlete started really from personal experience. I had the opportunity to receive an athletic academic scholarship to play at NYIT. At that time, I was living in Tampico, so I had that opportunity. I moved to New York, started to be a student athlete, and once in New York, you start to realize that there's a big opportunity to really bridge the gap between education and sports in Latin America overall. That idea, that passion, and obviously the personal experience and having been impacted by this system, that drove really CMAS athletes into what it is today. So I would definitely say personal experience and that passion of really helping student athletes in Latin America created the concept which is today CMAS athletes. Values and core, I would say the core values of CMAS athletes really rely on academics, sports, in that sense of organization, discipline, being proactive as opposed to reactive. There's a lot of talents that student athletes have, not only in the field but also off the field, and that really helps to build the skill set of the person, not the student, not the athlete, but the person who's going to go above and beyond and do great things once they graduate and once they finish their student athlete career. So as far as values for the company, I would say they are the same as the values for a student athlete. We pride ourselves on having within the company only former student athletes who understand that passion, that drive, and the people who are really collaborating with us in every aspect of the business really have that passion and values on mind. The challenges that we face as CMAS athletes. I would say there's a few, just the differences between different organizations, different institutions, different leagues. Per se. So a lot of what we do is really finding the right fit for every athlete. That really means being very detail oriented and understanding really what's the right fit for every student athlete. That means analyzing every profile, understanding their academic limits, their athletic limits, their potential, and then from there creating a strategy that really aligns with that vision. So that turns out to be a pretty complex process because we are consistently being tasked with different scenarios, different profiles, different necessities from the families. So we have to put everything in the equation and really try to find the right fit for the student athletes and their families. I would also say that's one of the most exciting things about what we do, because it doesn't get boring, it's not a routine. There's always new things that we're learning, there's always new challenges ahead, and I think that drives the company as well. My responsibilities as founder and CEO of CMAS Athletes, I would say they have changed throughout the time, and I think that's a good thing. Right now, I'm mainly focused on growing the business, focusing on strengthening certain areas within the operation workflow, within the sales workflow, within the recruiting workflow. But it's definitely, I couldn't say it's only one or two things. I would say I'm consistently in every bucket of the business, but I enjoy that. I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, that's part of being a CEO, always being on top of things and helping your team to really have the right tools to meet the objectives. What has marked my experience as a student athlete? I think the opportunity to really go to the United States as a student athlete, I think that I can safely say that changed my life in many different ways, in many different angles. Today, I've been in the United States for 7 years now, almost 8. A few years in New York, and I'm currently living in Dallas, Texas, where I operate CMAS Athletes from. So I would say that experience of being able to have a scholarship and go play in New York while I studied, while I graduated, it's something that marked my life, changed the future that was ahead of me at that time. I still remember back in the day when I was in Tampico and I was going to college. I knew I was going to be successful one way or the other, but really the opportunity that the American collegiate system provided to me is something that I can't put in words. I mean, that's part of the reason why Cmas Athletes exists today, because we want to replicate that. I want to be able to help other student athletes to realize their potential and really try to get to their limits. And so in my perspective, I think that just changed my life, and I hope that Cmas Athletes can change many other student athletes' lives. As far as education, working as together with sports, I think they have to go hand in hand, and that's one of the things that we need to change here in Latin America, in Mexico in particular. We don't do a good enough job of breaking those barriers between education and sports. I think they complement each other, and here in Mexico we kind of treat them as separate entities. As if I do sports, I cannot study, I cannot be a good student, or if I do high-level sports, I'm playing at a certain level in my discipline, I cannot study. So at Cmas Athletes, at Cmas Group, we believe that that's not the case. We want to combine those two components, and we believe that once you join those two things, when you put them together, great things happen. As far as books, this is going to be my, to me, as far as books that I like, and this is probably the entrepreneur talking, I enjoy reading about Steve Jobs in many different ways. His entrepreneurship mindset, his vision, I think they're one of a kind in the history of human history in period. I mean, not only in a specific industry. I enjoy Google's story. I mean, that's one of the best books that I've ever read. Just understanding how a little idea that was growing in one garage in California suddenly became this powerful company that today dominates the world in every aspect of society. So I think I have a few quotes, a few I guess leadership examples, entrepreneurship examples that I go by on a daily basis. But I always try to have that think fuera mindset, which is really thinking outside the box in everything that we do, whether it's sports, whether it's education, whether it's entrepreneurship, what is in your profession. I think that having that mindset really has great results in your career as a person and as a student athlete, obviously.